You and I are about to view real stories of betrayal captured live on surveillance, documenting the raw heartbreak and pain caused by unfaithful partners. This show stands with the loyal, serving as a warning to the deceitful, hoping to push them back toward honesty and virtue. Coming up on this week's episode, she is his actual wife, you know. The mistress yells, "He is married! You dragged me into this!" She screams, "You cheated this entire time!" Real reality television brought to you by the private investigators over at Cheaters Detective Agency. Host Peter Pinky welcomes viewers back to another wild, bugged-out episode of the show. Meet Nia Dion. She is young, beautiful, and deeply stressed by her boyfriend's cold behavior. Exhausted by his lies, Nia hired investigators to finally confirm her growing suspicions. Nia and Mac originally crossed paths at a local bar. She worked as a bottle service girl, and at first their relationship felt perfect. She genuinely loved spending time and going out on dates with him. But recently his entire attitude shifted. Nia could tell from his actions that he simply was not invested in their romance the way she still was. He started disappearing constantly, stepping away every time a random phone call came through. The warm, loving energy they built together had completely faded away over time. It was simply gone. Suspect, Mac Johnson, age 31, a musician accused of hosting very private performances for his female fans. With the initial paperwork completely handled, Cheaters dispatches field operatives straight to the suspect's home address. Detectives on duty quickly spot a mysterious woman leaving the property. The secretive woman climbs into a dark vehicle and cautiously creeps out of the driveway before casually driving away entirely unnoticed. Intelligence confirms the vehicle is actually registered to suspect Mac Johnson. Stick with me here. Operatives finally get eyes on Mac as the woman returns. He steps outside to help her carry some groceries indoors. With the bags collected, the suspect and his female companion vanish inside, leaving detectives with far more questions than answers. Recently, Nia and Mac flew to Vegas for their one-year anniversary. From the exact moment they arrived, it seemed like he just did not want to be there. He showed zero interest in celebrating. Instead, he acted like he was ready to leave immediately. Whenever his phone rang, he would literally sprint to a corner or completely leave the room just to answer the caller in private. For the last 3 months, the couple had been constantly fighting. He completely banned Nia from his house, claiming the place was going through some major renovations. He insisted he was sleeping on the floor and firmly refused to let her visit. One day, Nia walked down to his vehicle to grab something. The second she opened the door, she was instantly hit by the strong smell of women's perfume. Absolutely furious, she slammed the door and stormed right off. She marched back upstairs, ripped open the shower curtain, and aggressively confronted him about the obvious scent. He just stared at her like she was crazy, swearing it was only a new brand of car air freshener. With cameras locked on, the house operatives finally get the upper hand by catching suspect Mac Johnson as he steps outside with a dog and his mystery woman. We now discover she is his actual wife, Sasha Johnson. These two paint a perfect picture of matrimonial bliss, letting their dog run loose in the fresh air. But while their furry friend stops to do his business, Johnson decides to handle some shady business of his own. He takes a cryptic phone call, completely baffling his wife. His covert conversation finished, Johnson casually rejoins his unsuspecting family. With plenty of activity for one afternoon, the threesome heads straight back home. The couple and their precious pup stay locked safely inside for the rest of the night. "I keep asking Mac to let me come over," Nia explained, "but he always blames it on some mysterious house renovations. He insists I still cannot visit. After finding perfume in his car last time, I just knew his excuse was a complete load of garbage. So I drove over to check on him, and I actually saw another woman walking right into his house. Being on our one-year anniversary vacation, the betrayal truly made me feel like maybe we were never actually meant to be together. I honestly believed we shared something incredibly special, you know. But then, realizing that he is actually cheating on me, it's just, oh, everything gets thrown completely out the window. That whole future family we always dreamed about having, planning to finally move in together. Everything feels like it is completely over now. Let's watch together as our cheaters detectives lie in wait outside the suspect's home. Hours into the surveillance, investigators spot Johnson carefully shutting his lovely wife's car door. He slides behind the steering wheel and quickly navigates away. Operatives stay close on their tail, tracking the couple to a nearby supermarket. Now moving on foot, private investigators shadow the cheating suspect down the alcohol aisle. Looking ready to recreate their wedding night, the bottle-toting twosome hurry right back to their awaiting vehicle. The couple speed straight back home. With solid proof of Johnson's total lack of fidelity, our undercover agents close the active investigation and head back to headquarters. Right after the break, the confrontation. With zero doubt about Johnson's dirty double dealings, we brought Naya in to witness his shocking corruption firsthand. Completely overwrought with anxiety, Naya bravely steps up to face her ultimate fear. "Hey, Nia," he asked. "How are you?"
"I'm great," she replied.
"You look great," he added. "Spirits are high. You certainly look like you're in a fairly good mood. Well, you reached out to our investigative show. You contacted us because you had deep suspicions about Mac. So our team did some thorough digging, and I think we need to show you exactly what we uncovered. It will definitely answer some of your burning suspicions." All right, so Nia, on this specific day of our surveillance, we're parked outside Mac's place. You already know that, yeah. You recognize his house. Then this mysterious young lady suddenly walks out. "Tell me, are you at all familiar with this woman?"
"Yeah,
Nia confirmed.
that's the exact same chick I saw walking inside his house last time."
"Yeah, back when I finally caught her. So this is the very same woman you saw entering his place?" he asked.
"Yes."
"Wow. Well, you and I can clearly see she backs off." The other woman left. Sometime later, she returned. The devastated girlfriend recognized her immediately. Matt stepped outside helping the woman carry heavy grocery bags. His girlfriend was never invited over, making this incredibly strange. The team wasn't sure if this was a family member or someone else entirely. Let's look at this infidelity investigation together. Cameras staked out Matt's house. He emerged with the young lady once again. They walked the dog, getting up close and extremely personal. She wrapped her arms around him, hugging each other quite affectionately. It crushed his girlfriend, watching another woman bring groceries into his private home. They looked just like a happy couple walking their little family dog. She even noticed he was wearing a hat she had bought him. The investigator asked if she remembered. A recorded phone conversation played back for her. "Hey, hello." "Hey, what is up, hey? What are you doing?" "I'm out here walking my dog right quick." "What are you doing? When did you get a dog?" "Ha, damn, I don't have time to talk about that right now. But I've had it for a little minute, though. What are you doing right now inside the house?" "I'm not done. I was actually trying to see what you were doing. So yeah, let's link up. Let's link up a little bit later on tonight. I will let you know what is up. I'll call you back." She nodded, fighting tears, as she remembered that exact phone call. Once Matt hung up the phone with his girlfriend, he took his secret family back inside. Later, during today's cheating investigation, surveillance footage. Surveillance waited outside. Matt walked out of his home, jumping into the car with her. They drove off, and investigators followed. Sometime later, the couple arrived at the local supermarket. They jumped out, heading inside, shopping for wine and fresh groceries. They returned home laughing and joking, heading inside, like absolutely nothing happened. You and I can plainly see she isn't a side chick. She was clearly more than a main girlfriend. She was his wife. Yes, he was married. They were married. That explained the fake anniversary trip he took his girlfriend on. Heartbreaking. He was a married man who only took real anniversary trips with his wife. The investigative team knew their exact location. The crew was ready to pull up and confront them right now. The final choice was completely hers. She needed to remember the woman was his wife and channel her anger toward him. The ambush began. The crew moved in. Everyone rushed quickly toward the scene.
The target wondered what was happening to him.
The host called out to Mac directly. Mac stood there completely stunned. Peter Pankey introduced himself. You and I are watching a classic confrontation. The accusation of infidelity was thrown immediately. The other woman made it clear she was the mistress. The mistress screamed right in the confused wife's face. The mistress started frantically pulling at her own hair and taking off her shoes. She demanded that someone help remove her high heels immediately. She aggressively kicked her shoes off. Peter tried to pull Mac aside for a serious conversation. He asked about the ongoing scandalous affair. Honestly, he questioned the length of their marriage. Mac admitted he had been married for 5 long years. The harsh truth was finally surfacing. The other woman was not the primary partner. She was his lawful wife. Mac was legally married. The revelation of their 5-year marriage hung in the air. The mistress revealed their affair had spanned over a year. Everyone started shouting. Peter pointed to Mac's furious wife. The mistress was left completely shocked. She was the side chick. Stick with me as we watch this love triangle implode. They bickered about the timeline, confirming the betrayal lasted over 12 full months. She demanded someone return her discarded shoes. Chaos. Confusion erupted as everyone tried to piece together his pathetic timeline of lies. Mac pathetically claimed he had just gotten back into town to save face. The camera crew chased him when he tried to flee. Unbelievable. He repeated his weak excuse about traveling, while the angry women yelled that nothing was funny. He begged the screaming crowd to be quiet so he could finally defend his actions. Things got physical, and he warned the camera crew not to touch him. He frantically ordered everyone to back up and calm the situation right down. The side chick shouted out that she was only 18 years old. The host asked if everyone was okay. She sobbed about all the romantic trips he took her on outside of the city. Their excuses kept clashing as the messy, cheating argument continued. The furious wife sarcastically asked if the young teenager was his new assistant. What do we think? He desperately pleaded with the raging crowd to calm down and just listen. He refused to calm down, screaming curses instead. She joked they needed whatever he was smoking, telling him to back up. She screamed at him. She warned him not to touch her, loudly declaring that he belonged to the streets now. He was for the streets. Someone suggested he should just give up. He demanded attention. She demanded the phone from him. They argued over whether the phone was actually his. She snatched the phone, making it perfectly clear he wasn't going anywhere. She told the crew to take him home as he protested. She furiously yelled that the crew could take his sorry self home. They could deal with him. She trapped him screaming about his constant cheating all this time. She reminded him of his endless cheating, demanding to ask him a question right then. She made sure he wouldn't be able to call anyone anymore. He was entirely blocked from contacting his other woman right then. She shut down his excuses. Then came the moment you and I were waiting for. She took his shoes. The investigator revealed that the cheating pair had been under heavy surveillance. He exposed how the two had recently taken an anniversary trip to Vegas. She completely refused to hear his pathetic excuses. She shut her ears to his desperate pleading. She completely dismissed his claims that the other relationship had started before they met. She mocked him. She realized why he actually stayed with her. Everyone was confused by his strangely calm demeanor. He appeared so completely relaxed that the crew thought he was either entirely heartless or totally high. The cheater claimed they were just trying to work things out quietly. She exposed his hypocrisy of staying while supposedly working things out. The host asked about the shoes. She proudly confirmed she was taking the shoes, taunting him. He miserably whined about getting his shoes stolen right after they had supposedly gotten back together. When asked if they would reconcile, the answer was a very hard no. There certainly wasn't going to be a lucky third time for this doomed couple. She declared she was entirely done with him, leaving the messy situation behind her. The mistress was told to step back and let the man talk to his wife. The defeated mistress realized she had lost, pathetically asking how she was supposed to get home. She was bluntly told to find her own ride home with the production crew. The host ordered the crew to take her questioning what she even saw in him. You and I can see it clearly. The guy was definitely floating on cloud nine. His absolute lack of care made absolutely zero sense to anyone watching the chaos. He didn't even chase after his stolen shoes, leaving her feeling victorious and happy. She bragged that his phone was smashed, and he was completely broke anyway. She finally walked away. Picture this. Tensions flared as someone desperately asked how long they had been together. They complained about the endless back and forth, making it clear they didn't need the drama. He kept repeating that the chaotic situation made absolutely no sense, pleading his deep love for her. He begged her to calm down, admitting he loved her tall figure. She flatly refused. She declared she was completely done. The argument escalated quickly. She was totally finished. She announced she was completely done with him, demanding to know about the compromised phone. He deflected the blame, telling her to do whatever she wanted. She refused to pay, ordering him to go. Saying goodbye, they insisted. The bystanders had nothing to do with this mess. They brushed him off as just being weird and completely unpredictable. They agreed he needed serious help, maybe even a rehab stint. When asked for a ride home, the harsh response was an absolute, unapologetic denial. They loudly suggested that someone had better call him an Uber right away. They urged the crew to call him a ride and leave. The burning question about the contested phone remained entirely unresolved. Again, they demanded an Uber for him. They taunted that he could have done much better than that. Ready to roll out, she claimed she was too young and pretty to pay. She knew her absolute worth. She promised to show them all, eventually. Come with me. We are revisiting a classic cheating case from the archives. Reflecting back, the victim admitted deep anger, because the ugly truth was undeniably obvious. They explained how dealing with betrayal creates a massive, overwhelming wave of emotions that must be fully processed. Following the dramatic confrontation, a completely devastated Nia processed her scandalous reality. Stick with me. Soon we will reveal her final heartbreaking relationship decision. But first, our investigation circles back to former client John Park. He is finally stepping up to drop massive truth bombs about his television experience. Speechless, John admitted that initially he felt completely lost. At first, he remembered feeling nothing but pure, unadulterated anger. But soon after, he desperately just wanted some real answers. Why? He needed to understand why she was sneaking around entirely behind his back. And honestly, when a partner uncovers a devastating secret like that, discovering that kind of painful truth, he described experiencing an entire chaotic spectrum of emotions to process the betrayal. It was completely brutal, but uncovering the actual truth and finally confronting her felt incredibly empowering. He demanded what she was doing. He aggressively questioned the random guy's identity. He scoffed sarcastically at the homeboy excuse. Heartbroken, he genuinely believed she was just studying. He was actually just trying to study that quiet afternoon. But knowing the awful truth is different from merely suspecting. Stick with me here. He knew exactly what he was about to uncover, but dreading it never helps. Then he finally saw the vicious betrayal happen. It drove him absolutely crazy. He marched right up and confronted his cheating girlfriend immediately. Then he got into a massive fight. He lashed out at the other guy, and absolute chaos quickly erupted. He yelled at the arrogant rival to back off. He aggressively told the other man to dial the attitude down. He demanded that everyone just step back. The street tension exploded as they fiercely screamed at each other. Let's look closer. He was completely shocked by how aggressively she reacted, especially since she was the one entirely at fault. She was the unfaithful one caught red-handed, and yet she somehow tried to flip the script and blame him for the mess. He admitted he somewhat expected that defensive kind of reaction from his toxic partner, but her extreme venomous outburst was way worse than he ever imagined possible. She callously claimed he was smothering her, loudly complaining she needed space for her busy, independent life. The biggest question remained: Did the other guy know she was taken? He absolutely knew it. The rivals smugly pointed out that she clearly was not happy at home anymore. From that exact moment, he knew the terrible relationship was completely over. He wanted absolutely nothing more to do with her dirty, deceitful games. He finally realized something. He recognized that once a person shows their true, deeply unfaithful colors, that is who they are. And he absolutely refused to live like that. She eventually broke down in tears, admitting she was a cowardly liar for hiding the painful truth. A bystander urged her to just step up, face him directly, and express her actual regrets, but he bluntly refused to listen, calling her ridiculous weeping apologies completely useless. She tried begging, but he firmly shut her down. She desperately begged for one last chat, but he was just entirely done. He walked away, completely ignoring her pathetic, endless pleading. Looking ahead, he knew he had too many positive things going on to let her heavy negativity drag him down. He left that miserable relationship far behind for a much brighter path. His music was truly taking off. He was eagerly gearing up to go on tour very soon. He focused completely on himself and finally found his own genuine happiness. Nia Dion admitted her relationship habits were destructive, praying this was her final major lapse in judgment. An optimistic Nia planned to seek professional counseling, hoping to eventually gain some valuable personal insight into her constant, deeply unhealthy need to be in relationships. Meanwhile, Mac was way too stoned to even remember getting completely busted that wild, chaotic night. Mac Johnson eventually realized exactly why his own wife refused to speak to him. We've seen it before. A sober, overwhelmed Johnson remains furiously bitter for being completely exposed. Sasha Johnson claims she needs time to think to figure out why he betrayed her. Now remember, if you don't get your programming from Goldstein's, why we will both lose money.